A lot of those sex workers are leading protests in Amsterdam because, those red light districts are centuries old.
We didn't get to go to Amsterdam when I was a kid because we're Mormon. We had to go to Amsterdam.
Listen, they have plans to close their red light district and relocate it to what will essentially be like a thunderdome of sex workers outside the city. The city wants to move them from the red light district in the city to a huge, what they're calling an erotic center on the outskirts of the city. This is not long after the city of Amsterdam's campaign to ask drunken British tourists to stop coming there, singling out drunken, loutish Brits, saying all they do is they come and they start fights and they're blackout drunk and they're harassing people and they're fighting in the streets and they're screaming and they're pissing in the streets and they're puking all over the place and they're... So why they singled out...
They're the foreigners people want to get out. How the...
Right, they want to...
Turntable turns.
So Amsterdam gets about 20 million tourists a year. And again, I've never been. It's one of those places that I always had friends that went. My wife's been there a few times, but it was, I don't know why it was never like on my list. There's obvious reasons. Obviously, that's why people go. Smoke weed or whatever. They get laid. But the locals are fed up. And I wonder why now, because Amsterdam has been the same thing for a long time. So I don't know why now.
No, they're probably...
So
has it always been that bad with the Brits, though? Or?
Yeah, but I wonder why now. I mean, I wonder why did it get so bad to the point where they're like...
All right, enough of you guys.
Yeah. To keep our city livable, we're opting for limitations instead of irresponsible growth. This is Amsterdam's the Dutch capital, and they have an advertising campaign targeted at British men between 18 and 35, asking them to not come there anymore.
That's the funniest. Do you think it's reverse psychology?
I mean, they're like, look, if you come and behave, great. If you have 10 Jaeger bombs and you're running around, like it's spring break in Palm Beach or whatever. So they have a series of...
Jaeger bombs.
Yum.
I mean, yeah, but I don't know. And those days are behind me. I'll do one once in a while, but it ain't my go-to.
Unfortunately, they're not behind me, and I have to remind myself that I'm almost 52 years old because my go-to party drink is still tequila and Red Bull.
Yeah, it's the Red Bull that gets me. I can't.
But it doesn't do anything to me. And so that has, for many years now, probably lulled me into this false sense of security, and I have to consciously tell myself, I probably shouldn't, because I'll get it in a pint glass, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, I don't want my heart to explode. And I don't know if that's a real concern, but I'm like, maybe I'm in pretty good shape. Nevertheless, it's not a good combination. It probably never was a good, it tastes great, don't get me wrong. But, for your inner workings, it's probably, what have they told you from day one? Don't mix alcohol with energy drinks. Did I listen? No. I've been drinking them for 25 years. And I still do. Reflexively, I do. I will drink them at 9 in the morning if I have an appearance or I'm at a party or I'm hanging out or something because I forget that I'm in my early 50s. And I have a young child. And
dementia? Is that it?
It's not that. I don't know. I certainly hope not. No, I'm like, I should probably move away from these. It's not a dinner drink, right? I've got my classy dinner drinks.
Which is?
A gin and tonic, Tanqueray and tonic. But if I am partying, I will always go, just when it hits my lips, I just have visceral, it gets
you in the right mood.
It gets me in the right frame of mind, and I don't get crazy on them. I have a good time.
I don't see a problem with it.
Because
if that's
it's going to make my heart explode, and I should take that into account.
But
that's what they say. That's
how
what they
often
say.
are you doing it? You're doing that maybe once or twice. How often are you having that drink?
I mean,
maybe a dozen times a year.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah,
on average. Yeah,
a dozen times a year. It's not like you have 8 of them.
Well, no, you're right, not 8.
You're not having 8 of them. You might,
but I'll easily have 3 at a clip.
Right, I'm saying 3
pint glasses.
3 is different than 8, though. And if you're only having them, I think you're doing it sparingly enough that you have nothing to worry about. So keep up. You know, have 4
Bill
at
Squire,
a time.
MD.
The Bill Squire Show coming soon. 2 afternoons.
That's right.
As your heart explodes.
I see what's happening here. No. Go ahead and do it.
Yeah.
I think it's fine.
Throw some Coke in with it.
Come on, man.
You're not
doing it so frequently that it's really going to hurt you.
Gwen's going to be a great mom by herself. You're not
just what every young gal wants. Yeah. Alan, my mom always said, never mix your uppers and your downers. Yeah. Protests in Amsterdam, Paris, Israel, Germany. There's still civil unrest in South America. Things look really dire. World War III is coming soon. I mean, listen, they're all protesting over different things, right?
I was going to say, protest for what?
Well, in Paris, they're protesting because Macron tried to push through this, pension bill or something that's going to affect a lot of people. Israel, they're protesting what they're normally protesting. Amsterdam, their protest, it's a sex worker protest. It's not the streets aren't full of 10,000 people. Amsterdam is saying we would like to move the red light district out into the suburbs. It's very similar to what the Chicago Bears want to do in Chicago. They want to move from Soldier Field downtown into the suburbs. And it's not a sex worker.
Sprawl.
There you go. It's not a sex worker situation, but if you've ever had sex in a bathroom at Soldier Field, it can feel very much like that.
Get tested.
All the good stuff is going to be gone by the time I visit it. I want to go to Amsterdam to visit the red light.
Well, you'll just have to go out into the erotic center in the suburbs outside the city.
I don't want that. I want to go to the red light district in the city.
Well, then go now.
You better go now or you're going to end up going to the red light heights.
Yeah.
Are they still going to keep the historic district? This is the red light district, but no sex is there. This is just where it used to happen.
Just a museum.
Well,
yeah,
the Museum of Former Sex Workers.
Because they always have they have the room and then they'll have a little plaque on the wall hookers in here would take, 300 to 500 guys per week or something like that.
I'm just curious what changed. Bryan Cranston has a great anecdote. He's told it bunches of times, so you can probably find it somewhere, but he lost his virginity with a hooker in Amsterdam when he was 16, and it's a great story about kind of those early fumblings of being a young man and not knowing what you're doing, and this older woman who's a professional takes you by the hand, and they're so unemotional about it because it's their job. They're like, come on, get in here and, here's this. Take this, put this on.
Can you do that? What's the age of consent over there? You don't have to be 18 to go to a brothel.
I don't know about that. I mean, he told the story he was 16. I think there's no shortage of young men from around the world who probably lost their virginity in Amsterdam, or specifically went there to do that.
Say, who took him to Amsterdam at 16?
You can backpack across you can go to Amsterdam. You can go to a lot of places when you're 16.
Okay.
But they're trying to move this center. By the way, they're really leaning in with their advertising campaign.
Get ready for a red light special. Amsterdam's red light district's blowing out of business sale. Everything must come. You bang it, you buy it. Bargains on butt stuff. Foot stuff, buy 1 foot, get 1 foot free. This sale will finish before you do, so don't miss out.
So,
It's a lot of splashing.
Thank you. Who knows what will happen there, but I'm curious what is different. They're like, well, we want to reduce crime. But there's always been crime around the red light district.
Yeah, but they want to reduce it.
I guess they do. It has gotten, it reached a critical mass there, if you will. And so that's what they're looking at. Did you know Rob Dyrdek was from Ohio?
Yeah.
I did not know that.
Yeah, I know people that used to skateboard with him.
Yep, same here.
He's from out Dayton way.
Yep.
And he was talking to somebody about how he doesn't like coming back to Ohio. Did you see this?
Mm-hmm.
I hate coming back to Ohio. I didn't know he was from Ohio.
Yep.
I only know him from, obviously I know he's a skateboarder, but that wasn't my culture, and I didn't pay that close attention to it, other than playing Tony Hawk Pro Skater, and I don't know if Rob Dyrdek was a character in that.
He wasn't, but Chad Muska was, and I think he's from Ohio as well.
Okay. I just remember watching Robin Big, and I loved that show.
Yeah.
Rip Big Black.
Do you ever miss Ohio?
I don't.
It's impossible to miss Ohio.
Yeah.
Every time we leave, we're like, why do we live here?
Yeah. You know, I think early on, it was like, you know, Ohio is my home. And I was like, I'm going to move back here. And then I came back after like 10 months and I'm like, okay.
Hell no.
What is this place? I'm never coming back.
Hell no.
Ohio does not suck that bad.
You can't wait to get out. It's all you talk about. What are you talking about?
But
You're the guy that's going to
that's-
plant your flag in Ohio tourism now all of a sudden?
I never said I hated Ohio. I said I wanted to get out because this is all I've ever known. But I would definitely come back. This is my home. This is all I've known. Like the people here, every connection I've made was because of someone here in Ohio. So I can't really hate it.
Well, you also don't have Rob Dyrdek's life either.
Right. And it's one thing too, if you had the path that he went on where he left Ohio because he was getting paid and he was set up pretty nicely in Southern California. I could see how when you get in that situation, you go to Southern California, you make a good amount of money, and it just keeps going up and up. You're like, Ohio's.
You only
rough
come
to
back.
to.
You only come back to out of responsibility to visit your family.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that just seems kind of douchey. Like, this is where you came from. Don't forget where you came from, no matter what.
Oh, he remembers where he came from. He just
That's
don't
why he
want to
doesn't want to come back.
Yeah.
There's a lot of people who don't want to go back. There's nothing inherently great about, quote, where you came from. There's a lot of people who are like, I want to get the hell out of here and never look back, and they have their reasons for that.
But I feel like if you're just glossing over Ohio saying, like, why do I live here? You can't find positives about living here, because I can.
Listen,
Well, I mean,
I'm
the
sure he
weather's a
could
big
if he
deal, too.
wanted
I
to,
mean.
but he's also a guy that if he, he's made a great living
I
out in
understand that.
And by the
Southern
way,
California,
He's just
and
the
he
biggest
likes.
star here as anywhere else.
He's got a super foxy wife that's like 20 years younger than him. He's got to be 50. She's like 29 or 30. He's got a couple of little kids. They got a nice life. People forget. That's how great California is. It is a hellscape and nobody wants to leave. It's super expensive. It's always on fire, but it's so great. People are like, I'm never leaving.
There's been 60 seasons of ridiculousness. 60.
Yeah. No. Well, yeah, because they do like 3 a year or
Yeah,
something. Yeah.
I just would like
It's been
context.
because they were like, oh, Chanel's leaving ridiculousness. I'm like, that show is still on?
Yep.
I never got into it. I've seen it a couple of times. I had no clue it was even still on. Like, she's got to
It's
be
on
40 by
constantly,
now. Why is
yeah.
she leaving now? She should have left 20 years ago.
I just need context. I don't know why. I mean,
I think
if
weather.
you say,
I think weather.
okay, but
people
he
are
didn't
like,
say that.
Well,
If he said, I prefer
I just
California.
I just played you that little clip.
I was
Yeah,
saying,
but if you look at not, and it might just be weather. Also, he's not coming to Cleveland. He's going back to Dayton.
okay, but if he said,
As soon as he gets off the plane, Dick from Dayton's there. He's like, "Oh, hey, how you doing? I think the Cavaliers are gonna go far in the playoffs."
but he
and
didn't
he's
say-
like, "I'm going back to California."
that's why I need context. He didn't say Dayton. He said Ohio. If he said, I prefer California, I'd be like, okay, yeah, I can see that.
Yeah, but what does it matter?
Because
Why do you care?
It's not like he's going to be like, oh, I'll never go back to Dayton, but I love Cincinnati. Like, nobody says that.
But don't
Ohio
crap
is
on 11
Ohio.
million people that like
Ohio is Ohio, though.
Yes.
There are not huge variations. Everybody goes, Columbus. Columbus is still Ohio, homie. It doesn't matter. Listen, I've been here 13 years. Ohio is Ohio.
If I had Dyrdek money, I would love living in Southern California, but I don't.
I didn't have Dyrdek money, and I loved living in Southern California.
But would you love it still?
If I had, what do you mean?
You all right? You have the money that you have now, but you know how far. I mean, you have friends that live there, and you know what they pay.
Yes.
For like,
It doesn't go nearly
it
as
does
far.
not go
but
nearly
again,
as
but
far.
I've never determined where I'm going to live based on my money situation. Because for a long time, I didn't have any money. So you go where the action is or where you
right,
want
but
to go.
it's different
and
when you have a small child.
Of course
and
it is.
Things like that.
Of course.
So,
I got a job
yeah.
offer from San Diego a couple of years ago, and it was like, it would be a very different life had we gone. Right. So that's the calculus that you have to do.
Mm-hmm.
But again, when my point is simply that for everybody complaining about California, people who live there love it. My buddy who lives out there, I go, so do you guys talk about ever coming back to Chicago or whatever? See, they've been out there about maybe 10, 15 years. And he's like, maybe, but we still love it. Like, they have a lot of money. They don't have kids. Just got a new dog.
now the thing is, I was just out in Sacramento in January, and when I got out there, it was basically Ohio because it was just cold and rainy the whole time I was there, and it really wasn't the California adventure I was hoping for.
And that's Sacramento.
Yeah.
I mean,
but
that's
Sacramento was
like
ranked,
the Dayton of California.
but they were ranked the best city to live in
by who?
by Forbes in California.
Just running the data, you mean, money and
I'm guessing something like that.
I mean, that's north of San Francisco.
had
So
friends
you're not getting you're getting more of that kind of like fall weather all the time.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I had friends that lived in Sacramento, and they said they loved it. Your money goes further.
Again, if that's your primary consideration, and it's not a small one, but
I think that's a
Well, they lived
big
all
deal
over.
for a lot of people. Yeah.
yeah.
They lived in Sacramento, they lived in San Diego, and they lived in Long Beach. And they said out of three, Sacramento was the cheapest, but San Diego was their favorite.
But I
and
mean, listen,
Long
what I'm
Beach
saying is
where they stayed the longest.
obviously you got to make your money go as far as you can. But if you're living somewhere and you go, yeah, my money goes a lot farther, but there's nothing going on here. I mean, you still got to have like a life. You know, it's why people live in New York and are dirt poor because they're still living in New York. They're like, yeah, I don't have any money and I'm 40 and I'm living with 3 other people and I got a regular job, but I still, any night of the week, I can go do what I want to do. So again, that's probably more of a single person thing, but there are different considerations. Anyway, I didn't know that he was from Kettering, which is where Rob Dyrdek is from. I got to take a break. If you want the last couple of passes for the Louder Than Life Festival, it is this September. It's in Kentucky. Every band you would like to see is going to play it. It is a huge festival with Foo Fighters and Weezer and Limp Bizkit and Pantera and Tool and Green Day.